There's a scene that repeats, always. The music, the candles, the cake at the center of the table, smiling faces on the outside, and on the inside, a name, the same one. At the moment of the wish, nobody sees, but it happens. This person thinks, not about work, not about gifts, not about the future. They think about you, they think about what was, what wasn't, about what still pulses amidst what should have already faded away. It's not explicit longing. It's not a desire to go back. It's more subtle, more honest. It's a silent prayer, formed unwittingly, perhaps asking for the hurt to cease from both sides, maybe hoping that one day time will allow for a conversation without tension, without defenses, without expectations, or simply wishing that this connection finds some kind of peace, because no matter how much has changed, this person still feels. They notice. They realize that certain presences never leave, that the silence of someone specific can weigh more than the absence of many, and this thought doesn't happen just once, it repeats, every year, at the same moment. When everyone is waiting to blow out the candles, this person still has you on their mind, not out of attachment, but because there's something that's never been named, and maybe it never will be, or perhaps it just needs more time. Some people think that birthdays are just a date, just another number, a routine, a formality, but for this person, it isn't. It never was. It might seem that way on the outside. They can smile, they can laugh loudly, they can post gratitude on social media, thank others for their messages, cut the cake with the same gesture as every other year. But inside, there's a ritual that no one sees. There's a precise moment when time slows down. Everything around continues but inside, something stops, freezes. This moment comes just after Make-A-Wish, right before the blow, and always without fail, and you appear, without needing a name, without announcement, without drama. You simply show up, like someone who has never left. And this person notices. You realize there's something between you two that hasn't turned into the past. Even though life has moved on, other stories have been written and other bodies have taken the place of that presence. Still, you remain there, as a memory, perhaps, as a mark, without a doubt, as a bond that hasn't completely unraveled, always. It's in that moment when everything freezes inside, that desire takes shape. It's not a request to go back. It's not a plea for reunion. It's just a sincere wish that what still lingers between you finds some resolution. It's not always clear what that person truly wants. Sometimes it's just peace. Other times it's forgiveness. And at times, it's just a silent hope that time will soften what became rough. Maybe that person wishes that you both one day can look at each other without pulling away for protection, without measuring each other, without defending yourselves. Maybe they wish that when you cross paths again, the heart won't close up and the gaze won't escape. Or maybe they wish for you to be well, just that you are whole, even from a distance. And the most curious thing is that this thought doesn't arise from anger, nor from bitterness, nor from expectation. It comes with calm, with a kind of silent respect, with a form of love that no longer demands anything, but still feels everything. And it repeats, year after year, breathe after breathe. That person doesn't say, doesn't write, doesn't post, but they feel. And sometimes they don't even understand why. They just know that when the anniversary comes, the heart points to a place that never fully healed. Do you realize? It's not about reconnecting, nor about turning back time. It's about recognizing that what you lived had weight, and that weight hasn't turned to dust, it has become emotional matter. It has become an invisible presence that appears on certain dates, and today is one of those. That person may have already tried to erase you from memory. They made an effort. They kept silent. They created distance. But still, when everyone sings happy birthday, the desire comes, and the desire knows your name even if no one hears it, even if you don't even know it yourself. Have you ever been that person? Do you feel like someone still carries you this way? It's crazy to think that sometimes the truest words are never spoken. They are only felt, only recognized from within. That person carries this in silence, and maybe they think you've forgotten, that you don't think about it anymore, that it has faded away. But what if you felt something too? What if, on a day that also exposes you, you thought of them in the same way? You never talked about it, never admitted it, never tried to translate what was left unsaid, but it's there, present, Untouchable, perceptible, and deep down, and deep. You know that there was something between the two of you that no rational explanation can account for. You know that there were looks that said much more than any conversation. You know that the goodbye, as necessary as it was never complete. That person isn't asking for a return, and neither are you, but there exists a space between goodbye and reunion that remains unfilled. And that space is where this desire resides, a desire for lightness, for understanding, for healing, a desire that, when the time is right, the universe allows for a real reconciliation, without the need for romance, but with presence, with truth, with room to say everything that was never said. That person thinks this without planning, without showing visible emotion. Without any drama at all, they think about it naturally, like someone missing something they can't quite name. And then they blow. The flame goes out, everyone claps, and no one realizes what really happened there. But it did happen. Again. You showed up, in the most intimate moment of the most exposed day of the year. Do you really think that's insignificant? Do you really think it's over? Comment, I needed to hear this if you've been reminded this way, or tell me what name came to mind when you were asked to make a wish, because maybe you are that person too, the one who never spoke, the one who never returned, the one who carries silently, deeply, perceptibly, and even so no one sees. No one notices the moment when that person's eyes drift away from the scene, even though their body is present in the center of the party, because in that second, something inside them is no longer there. It's in another time, in a time when you were still part of their life, not as a memory, but as a presence that changed the air around. This person doesn't romanticize it. They don't turn into fantasy what was pain, absence, misunderstanding, noise. They know what you experienced. They know what was left unresolved. They know it wasn't easy, but they also know that it was real. And real, no matter how much it hurts, leaves a different mark. It's not weight, it's a scar that doesn't bleed anymore but also doesn't fade away. It stays there. Under the skin, under the gestures, under the words spoken to other people, under the smiles given to other stories. This person has fallen in love again. They've gotten involved. They've tried to live other truths. But now and then, on those specific days, something about you still appears. And when it appears, it doesn't ask for permission. It just settles in, gently, but vividly, deeply alive. It's not drama, it's detail. It's the kind of memory that doesn't hold up life, but also doesn't leave. The kind of feeling that doesn't prevent new loves, but also doesn't lend itself to any comparison, because no one was the same. And this person knows that. They know that what happened between you was not perfect, but it was rare. And no matter how much they can't explain, the desire that arises in the moment of a sigh is never about something material. It's not about success, money, travel, conquest. It's always about something that involves you, even if indirectly, even if nameless, even if unintentional. A desire for peace with the past, a desire for forgiveness without needing to ask, a desire for emotional freedom, yours and theirs, a desire for time to take away what hurt but keep what was true, and most importantly, a desire that, one day, if the paths cross again, there will be no more pain in the reunion, no more noise, no more masks, just the essential, just the truth. Because this person knows, if you show up again, it can't be out of desperation. It has to be out of presence, and that presence is still possible, even if it's distant, even if it's fragile, even if it's only a dream. Have you ever felt this way about someone? Have you ever found yourself wishing on your own birthday that a specific name is doing well, even if that name has caused you pain, even if they've left you? Even if today they're somewhere else living a different life? If so, you are that person too, the one who remembers, the one who carries, the one who feels, even when no one knows. And that doesn't make you weak, nor vulnerable, nor behind. It makes you human, deeply human, because loving even after a fall is rare. Wanting well even without anything in return is noble, and remembering without getting hurt is healing. This person still has something to say, but doesn't say it, not because they don't want to, but because they haven't found the space yet. And maybe they'll never say it, and maybe they'll never return, and maybe you'll never know. But today that thought came up again, in the same second, at the same time, at the same point in the cycle that repeats. And if this has reached you now, it wasn't by chance. Do you realize? You were there, without knowing, but you were, and part of what was whispered was yours, because what happens after the whisper, no one talks about. The light goes out, the fire dies, the applause comes, the laughter mingles, the conversations return, but inside that person, something stayed lit, a small spark, subtle, motionless, silent. And it's not about restarting, nor about repeating, nor about trying one more time. It's about recognizing that what was lived still has a subtle presence. As if the past isn't asking for more space, but also refuses to be erased. And this creates a kind of feeling that has no name. It's not love like before, but it's also not indifference. It's not desperate longing, but it's also not absence. It's a mixture that doesn't fit into a label, only into body, only into soul, only into silence. This person tries to explain this to themselves, but can't, because it's not logical, it's sensory, it's a feeling that only those who have experienced it can recognize. And maybe you felt it too. Maybe you spent days trying to forget, months trying to erase unsent messages, years trying not to think about certain dates. But deep down, there is still something, even if subtle, even if distant, even if painful, it exists. And this person carries it like someone who no longer wants to suffer, but also doesn't want to lie to themselves. That's why, when someone asks if they still feel anything, they hesitate. They don't say yes, but they can't quite say no either. And this hesitation is the space where you still reside. It's the place that no one else has touched, because no one else has been you, and maybe they never will be. This person doesn't want a return, but they want the truth. They want peace with what they lived. They want to be able to look back without punishing themselves. They want to think of you without feeling like they still owe something, or that they've left something unpaid. And this kind of desire, no matter how small it may seem, it's the kind that sustains an entire heart, because there are stories that don't come back, but they also don't end. They just change form. They've turned into heavy silence, memories with breath, presence without touch, yet still presence. And that is the hardest point to explain. This person feels you, even without seeing you, even without talking to you for a long time, even without knowing where you are or who you're with. They feel like someone receiving an old visit in the middle of the night, without an hour, without warning, without reason. But they feel, they notice. And this perception isn't a choice, it's a connection that perhaps was created in a moment that you both didn't understand, a connection that resisted the screams, the goodbyes, the words that hurt, a connection that still pulses, even if weak, even if far away, and when the cake comes back to the table, when the birthday celebrations have passed, when the guests get distracted, this person is still there, with something in their chest that they didn't say, with a desire that hangs in the air. And this desire has shape. It has an address, it has a name, yours. You will never know how many times you were remembered like this, how many times you were the secret wish amidst lit candles, how many times someone asked for peace and included you in that. But today you know of one, this one, right now. And that's already enough to realize that even without knowing, you still matter. Not because you need to return, but because you left a mark. It's that simple. This person may never say it out loud. Maybe they'll keep it for years. Maybe they'll write it in journals. Or maybe they'll carry it only in their being, in the act of looking at their phone and not calling, in the habit of remembering and not saying a word. But if they had the courage, if this were the moment, they would say, I don't want you back, but I carry you with me, in the most honest part of myself. So because deep down, no one teaches us how to deal with that kind of presence, the one that's no longer there, but also never truly left, the one that doesn't show up in pictures, but keeps appearing in memories, the one that doesn't text, but still occupies an impossible to ignore space. This person, who might be you, continues to remember in silence, continues to wish in secret, continues to carry what they've never been able to put into words. And as time passes, what remains isn't the absence of the other. It's the presence of everything that wasn't said, of everything that wasn't resolved, of everything that, even without explanation, is still there. And that stays with you on your birthday, on theirs. On ordinary days, that don't seem like anything special, but hurt inside, because some stories never conclude. They just become a part of who we are. If this spoke to you, comment below, "I needed to hear this." Or tell me, who is the person you've never truly been able to forget? Leave a heart if this video touched you. Share with someone who carries this kind of feeling and has never had the courage to talk about it. And if you've made it this far, subscribe to the channel. This isn't just an isolated video. It's an ongoing conversation with those who feel deeply and are rarely understood. And of course, leave a like. That way I know there's someone out there feeling all of this with me. We'll continue in the next one, because this was just the first step. If this resonated with you, the next video will resonate even more. Click here and stay with me.